The morning sun barely pierced the thick fog that clung to the village, draping the thatched roof of Huyen's modest hut in a soft, gray veil. As always, Huyen rose early, her hands moving with quiet purpose as she lit the stove. The crackle of firewood mingled with the scent of steaming rice, filling the damp courtyard with warmth. Little Maya, still rubbing sleep from her eyes, yawned widely, her small face glowing with innocence. Clutching her worn backpack, she nestled into her mother's arms, her tiny body radiating trust. Huyen smoothed Maya's hair, tying the backpack securely to her back. "Come on, dear," she said softly. "We'll leave quickly so you won't be late for school." Just then, the familiar squeak of rubber sandals on pedals announced Uncle Huyen's arrival. His old bicycle creaked as he rolled into the courtyard, his weathered face breaking into a gentle smile. Bending down to Maya, he said, "Come on, I'll take you to school." Maya's eyes sparkled, and with a gleeful leap, she climbed onto the back seat, clinging tightly to his shirt. Huyen stood at the gate, watching them vanish into the fog, a strange unease tightening in her chest. Shaking it off, she donned her conical hat, grabbed a bamboo basket, and headed to the longan orchard on the village's edge. The orchard hummed with the sweet, heavy scent of ripe longans. Huyen climbed the trees with practiced ease, plucking the fruit and filling her basket, her mind on the market where she'd sell them. But as she prepared to leave, her steps faltered. At the end of the dirt path, near the intersection to the market, stood a figure, rigid, unyielding, dressed in a faded brown blouse, her hair pulled into a tight bun. Huyen's breath caught. Even from behind, she knew. It was her former mother-in-law, the woman whose sharp words and colder glares had once turned Huyen's youth into a waking nightmare. Her fingers tightened around the basket's handle, knuckles whitening. For a moment, she hoped it was a trick of her mind, but when the woman turned, her eyes cut through the morning mist like blades. Their gazes locked, silent, as the wind rustled the longan branches. Huyen's heart pounded, and without thinking, she bolted down a narrow path, ducking behind a bamboo fence. Her breath came in shallow gasps, the basket trembling in her arms, longans spilling onto the dirt. "Huyen, is that you?" The woman's voice was hoarse, laced with ice. "No," Huyen whispered, pulling her hat lower, her voice quivering. She didn't dare look back, fleeing toward the safety of her courtyard. Slamming the hut's door behind her, Huyen leaned against it, her body shaking. No footsteps followed, but the shadow of that woman lingered, as if waiting for Huyen to falter. Huyen emerged from behind the house, his brow furrowing at her pale face. Words failed her, but she threw herself into his arms, clinging as if he were the only anchor in a storm. His calloused hands rested gently on her back, steady and warm, needing no words to understand. Years ago, Huyen had endured a marriage filled with criticism and isolation, her former mother-in-law's gaze stripping her of worth. Now, when Huyen had dared to hope the past was buried, it stood at the village's edge, alive and unforgiving. That evening, as Maya lingered at school, Huyen's unease grew. Her eyes darted to the village road, haunted by the thought of that woman appearing at the school gate, discovering Maya was her granddaughter. The idea of her trying to take Maya away stole Huyen's breath. Huyen approached silently, his hand resting on her shoulder, not with promises, but with the quiet strength of his presence. His broad shoulders and calm gaze were a shield, a reminder she wasn't alone. Outside, the past loomed like a predator, but within their small home, the fire burned steadily, and Huyen clung to the hope that they could face whatever came together. As the sun dipped low, casting golden light through the mango trees, Huyen and Huyen tended to their evening tasks. She scattered feed for the chickens, their carefree pecking a stark contrast to her racing thoughts. Huyen hammered at the coop's roof, the rhythmic taps grounding her slightly. Still, the fear lingered. "Huyen," she whispered, her voice hoarse, "we can't keep running like this. Can we really go on like this?" He paused, meeting her glassy eyes. "I'm scared," she admitted, her voice breaking. Her words, her looks, they made me feel worthless. But now, with you and Maya, I can't lose anything else. Huyen sat beside her, taking her trembling hand and pressing it gently between his own, the feed still warm in their palms. "What if we face it all, Huyen?" he asked quietly. "No more running." Her eyes searched his, and after a long moment, she nodded, a silent vow forming. For the first time in years, a flicker of courage sparked within her, not because the fear was gone, but because she knew she wouldn't face it alone. The next morning, the village buzzed with routine, but for Huyen, every step carried the weight of her past. She pedaled her fire-red bicycle, worn from years of use, with Huyen seated behind her, his arms steady around her waist. The road to Maya's school was familiar, lined with trees and passing villagers, but today, Huyen scanned every face, every shadow. Huyen's quiet strength anchored her, and she slowed the bike, as if to reassure him she was there, too. At the school gate, children's laughter filled the air. Maya bounded out, her pink backpack bouncing, her face lighting up at the sight of her parents. Before she could leap into their arms, Huyen knelt and hugged her tightly, her voice trembling but firm. Maya, listen carefully. If someone you don't know talks to you, even if they say they know me or Dad, don't go with them. Okay. Maya's wide eyes blinked in confusion, but she nodded. Yes, I promise. Huyen's gaze swept the courtyard, searching for any sign of danger, but found none. With Maya between them, they pedaled home along the red dirt path, the bicycle carrying their small family forward. Maya chattered about school, how her teacher gave out prizes, how her friend Nam fell and dirted his clothes. Huyen leaned her head against Huyen's back, one arm around Maya, the other clutching his shirt. In that moment, she felt a quiet resolve. No matter the storms ahead, as long as they rode together, she could face anything. Back at home, the day unfolded with its usual rhythm. Huyen prepared breakfast, the aroma of grilled fish and boiled gourd wafting through the hut. Maya, still sleepy, nibbled at her meal, while Huyen carefully removed the fish bones for her. Eat more, Maya, she urged. Fish is good for you. It'll make you smart and tall like your classmates. Maya grinned, her eyes heavy with sleep. It's tasty, Uncle Huyen, she said, earning a warm smile from him. You bought the fruit in the right season, Huyen added, tasting the tender, sweet longans. It's perfect. As they ate, Huyen's thoughts drifted to the day's tasks. She and Maya were to help the shop owner move into her grand new house, a 2-story marvel being built as a dining hall for guests. The work was hard, but the pay was good, and Huyen dreamed of saving enough to build a better home for her family. Maya, help Mom clean today, she said. Make it spotless, or they won't pay us. Maya nodded eagerly, determined to prove herself. Meanwhile, Huyen had his own mission. He set off to meet the village chief, seeking certification for his unilateral divorce from Ms. Tieu, his estranged wife who had left him 3 years ago for another man. The unresolved matter of their shared property, a small plot of land and a modest house, complicated things, but Huyen was determined to move forward. At the chief's home, he explained his situation, his voice steady but heavy. She refuses to return and settle it, he said. I need your help to certify she's been gone. The village chief, a respected figure with a deep sense of justice, listened intently. You're a good man, he said. I'll certify she left, and I'll guide you through the petition. Write clearly. She abandoned you, violated her marital obligations. Submit it to the district court. If she doesn't appear, they'll proceed without her. Huyen nodded, gratitude and resolve in his eyes. The chief even called Tieu, his tone firm. Arrange to come back, or the court will handle it, he warned. Tieu's response was curt, dismissive, but the chief remained undeterred, promising to submit the petition himself during a trip to the district. Back at the shop owner's house, Huyen and Maya worked tirelessly, arranging tables and chairs on the second floor, sweeping away construction dust. This house is so big, Mom, Maya marveled, her small hands clutching a mop. One day, I'll build one like this. Huyen smiled, her heart swelling with pride, but her exhaustion was evident. Be careful, Maya, she cautioned. Don't slip. The landlady, kind and appreciative, urged them to eat, but Huyen insisted on finishing the job. We'll head home soon, she said, wiping sweat from her brow. As evening fell, the family reunited at home. Huyen's shoulders ached, her body weary from the day's labor. Huyen, noticing her discomfort, offered to massage her, but she brushed it off with a shy smile. It'll pass, she said, though his concern warmed her. Over dinner, they shared stories of the day, Huyen's progress with the divorce, Maya's help at the house, and the simple joy of their meal together. The village chief was a great help, Huyen said. He's submitting the petition tomorrow. If tieu doesn't return, the court will finalize it. Huyen nodded, a mix of relief and lingering worry in her eyes. I hope it's over soon, she said softly. I just want us to be free, to start our life together. Huyen reached for her hand, his touch steady. We will, he promised. Nothing will stop us. As night deepened, thunder rumbled in the distance, signaling an approaching storm. Huyen washed Maya's hands and feet, tucking her into bed under the mosquito net. Sleep well, my love, she whispered, kissing her forehead. Maya, already drifting off, murmured, Uncle Huyen, stay and watch the chickens. He chuckled. All right, I'll stay tonight. Later, as Huyen washed her hair, dusty from the day's work, Huyen offered to help, his gentle teasing easing her tension. Your hair smells so nice, he said, combing it carefully. You're still young, you know, like 25. Huyen laughed, swatting his hand. Why not 18? She teased, but her smile faded as she spoke of her fears. I wish I could go back, make different choices. I'm scared, Huyen. What if the past comes back? He sat beside her, his presence a quiet anchor. We'll face it together, he said. You, me, and Maya. No more running. Huyen leaned into him, the weight of her fears lifting slightly. With the divorce papers nearly complete and their small family united, she felt a spark of hope. The storm outside might rage, but inside their humble hut, the fire burned strong, and Huyen knew that together they could weather anything.